You are now officially inside with Noni Ayana. Adult content for mature audiences only. Thank you for joining me. I have just logged into my Periscope here so my Periscope viewers can watch me broadcast live as I talk about body image and self-pleasure for women. So you probably want to stay for the whole thing, because thankfully for my Periscope viewers, I'll be able to pull out a few of my toys when it comes to masturbation. I just got a few. Okay. So we're going to, I'm going to pull those out and let you see what I'm talking about when it comes to self-pleasure. Well, right now we're going to start with body image. And if you can, just make sure you share with as many females as you can so they can join me. You can always go to, I'm on air, orangeroomradio.com, where you can listen via internet stream, and you can view me on Periscope following at @the_Noni Ayana. So, okay. So yes, thank you for joining me. Remember this, some of the content will be explicit, so make sure you're in a space where you can hear me and you know, and the ears are of age, okay? So tonight I'm going to be talking about body image, and there's so many things about body image that I want to discuss, especially when it comes to women, because we seem to have more of the issues when it comes to body image. And it's about being comfortable with your body, ladies. It's about being comfortable with your body. You know, ask yourself, because you know what's interesting? My personal trainer, she put this on her page about the show tonight, and she asked several questions that I want to ask. And her posts included, are you comfortable with your body? Do you need the lights off or down low, you know, when you're getting undressed? Because I actually know some adult women that don't really like looking at their bodies, even when they're naked, right? When you step into the bathroom to get undressed, do you try to avoid looking at yourself, is the question. Why do we feel the naked body is something to hide? Which is a very good question. Why is that? It seems like almost every woman I know wants to change something about their body to fit society's standard of beauty. Why do we tend to focus on the negative, or at least what we think is physically undesirable about ourselves? Why is that? Why do we tend to focus on the negative? Okay. So I really wanted to get into like body shaming, because we tend to get a lot of that, and it's mostly among and between women. We shame each other. We don't really have to do that. The men don't really have to do it, because we do it for ourselves. The women do. We will shame a sister to death. What is the goal in shaming someone? Do you want them to feel bad about themselves, or is it so you can feel bad about feel good about yourself? That's the question, right? So those who are viewing me on Periscope, I am on air as well, as you can see. And if you have questions or comments about, you know, what I'm saying, feel free to ask me a question or comment on what I'm talking about. But as it comes to body image, what are we saying is the reference, or what are we using as a reference for the standard of beauty? That's what I want to know. What are we using? Like, what are we comparing? What are women compare themselves to when it comes to trying to figure out if they look good or not? Are they comparing themselves to women in videos, the women in magazines, the women or other women that they find beautiful? Are they doing that? That's what I want to know. What are you using as a what are you using as a reference when you attempt to decide on what is beautiful and what is not, and how you compare yourself to that standard of beauty? And I want you to be honest with yourself. You know what I'm saying? This is the conversation that you're having with yourself. What are you using? Let me ask you this. Because every woman I know seems to want to change something about themselves. So if you wanted to change something, what would you change, or what would you not change? And what do you think will happen or be better about yourself if you did make the change? That's what I want. You can send your comments to noniayanashow@gmail.com, or you can go to my website, insidewithnoniayana.com. You can go to the Ask Noni Ayana page and put your information in there. But I want to know, A lot of women wish they had a bigger ass. Some women wish they had bigger breasts. You have some that wish, you have some dark-skinned women that wish they were lighter. You know what I'm saying? And you may have one or two light-skinned women that wish they were darker. It happens. What do you wish you could change? Do you wish you were thinner? If you are, do you consider yourself too overweight? Do you consider yourself obese? Do you want to change your weight? Do you want to change, I don't know. Do you wish you had a smaller waistline, or do you feel like your legs are not sexy enough? I know some women who wish they had calves, better calves. I mean, we get really detailed as to what we feel we would change about our bodies. So I want somebody to reach out to me while I'm talking and let me know, what do you want to change about yourself? Or when you look in the mirror and you see yourself, what are you saying to yourself? Like, how do you view yourself in the mirror? Okay. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because it's like, everybody has this particular image that they think is the standard when it comes to like various parts of the female body, right? So how about the vagina itself, right? So we got women out here getting labiaplasty. If you all know what labiaplasty is a surgical procedure where a cosmetic surgery where women actually go under the knife to apply some type of cosmetic, if you will, or some type of surgery where it enhances the labia, or they remove some of the labia, like they cut it. Because, you have some women whose labia hang a little bit lower than others, right? So what they do is they have it cut so it can have a smoother look where it won't hang as much. So you have that. And then I don't know if you have some women who are I don't know if they have it stretched or added to. I don't know what the hell they're doing. But my thing is this. What is labia supposed to look at? What is it supposed to look like? Now you have like what is it called? It's called the Great Wall of Vagina. I don't know. I think that's what it's called. If you look it up, it's called the Great Wall of Vagina. And what they have is, it's this guy, he's an artist, and he took the mold of women from all over the world of their vaginas, and he literally he made a wall of it. It's a wall. All of different types of vulvas, basically, is what they are. They're vulvas. They're not vaginas, because the vagina is the canal itself. But he has various images of the vulva. And the vulva basically is what you see on the outside, the external genitalia of the female genitalia. What you see on the outside is really the vulva, that whole package there. And I'm going to show you a diagram in a little bit. But the lips, you got the lips, and then you have the clitoris, which, many of us are aware of what the clitoris is. Many men pride themselves on understanding what the clitoris is. Many men spend their time on the clitoris. So you have the labia, the clitoris, you have the mons pubis, that mound there with the hair on it. And then you have so you have all of that. All of that is the vulva, okay? Just so I can educate you a little bit on what that is. Now, so women feel as if, they need to get that fixed in order to look a certain way. So I don't know whose vulva they're looking at to compare themselves to feel like they had to do something to it to make it look more attractive. I hope you're not going by what women look like on porn or what you see on TV, because really, that's really the only reference that you have, because a lot of women don't see other women's vulvas. So how do you know how other women are looking other than women who've, publicly displayed themselves in that way? Strip clubs, porn stars, things like that, right? Or if you happen to catch your girlfriend, or if you happen to see your mother, you all undress in front of each other and you happen to spot her vulva and you see how it looks and that sort of thing. And we tend to compare, right? Just like men compare each other's penises when they're in the locker room or whatever, just to see who's bigger or who's smaller, right? So we tend to look at these images and we kind of decide to ourselves that it's always somebody else's always looks better than our own. We are never satisfied, as a society and a whole, as a gender, women. we are never satisfied with what we are born with. It's always like whatever else is out there seems to look better than what we have, right? And I used to be an exotic dancer, and I understand how labia can differ. You have women whose labia hang really low. It hangs really low. Their clitoris is bigger or smaller, and you got different shapes and sizes. You have the labia where the lips literally look like a butterfly, right? Right. And I was on Facebook not too long ago, and I was in a secret group, and one of the women referred to the labia that hangs. She referred to that type of labia as meat curtains. I was like, what the hell? Why are we calling labia meat curtains? That's not very sexy at all. I personally would not want to refer to my labia as meat curtains. So women are running out and getting labiaplasty for shit like that. That's some bullshit. And then and we're talking about body shaming. We're talking about body image, and body shaming has a lot to do with it. And so you have these images that scroll, when you scroll through your timeline on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, whatever you have, whatever you're a part of, and you see these images of women, and you see, it's almost like, we kind of glorify how they look, and then we decide, okay, that's how my pussy should look, basically. And that's not always the case. Okay. What's wrong with just loving what you have and appreciating the beauty of what you have? Nothing, actually. Why would you have to change what already exists? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And what's interesting? Just as you might feel like someone else's labia or vulva looks better than yours, someone could possibly look at your vulva and say, or consider yours to be more attractive, which is, what I'm saying? It's just interesting how that all works out. So, like I said, you got women who get in the labiaplasty. You have another thing that tends to shame a lot of women is whether a pussy is too big or too wide. A lot of people tend to think that if a pussy is big on the inside, that means she's had a lot of sex or she's been with a lot of men. This is another way of shaming the female sexuality. On top of that, this definitely affects body image and how she feels about her body and about herself. Just because a woman may be a little bit more roomy on the inside than someone else does not necessarily mean that she's had multiple sex partners. She could just be that way. Or she could have had children, and that could have affected her, how she feels on the inside. But it doesn't necessarily mean, I've heard somebody say a wide pussy, men kill me with that shit. And they always talk about how they know if they woman been with somebody else, and that's not always true. Okay, because you have some women who tighten up immediately after intercourse. So this whole I know if she been with somebody, that's some bullshit. You really don't know. You really don't know. But like I said, this whole wide pussy thing, or if it's a big pussy, that does not necessarily mean that she's had multiple sex partners. It doesn't mean that at all. It just simply means that you may experience a little bit more freedom in that vaginal canal, or flexibility in that vaginal canal versus someone else. It doesn't really mean anything. So don't fall for those stereotypes. Okay? And ladies, don't... and so you have women who are so conscious about that they're out here putting, Benoit balls up in their pussy, and they're doing Kegels and all this kind of stuff. It's good to do Kegels. It's a very healthy thing to do Kegels. That's wonderful. But at the same time, why are you doing it? You know what I'm saying? I hope you don't feel less than or less worthy because, someone told you that your pussy was too big on the inside and they just assumed that you had a bunch of people in there. You know what I'm saying? Women who have this stereotype about their ass, how, women getting ass shots. And I think I saw something on my timeline where somebody had these suction cups. They had a suction cup on each cheek. It was like suctioning the booty up. I guess it was, I don't know what the hell that was doing, but to me it looked a little ridiculous. But people will do anything. People are dying to have a fatter ass, like literally, with these injections, and they're injecting everything from cement to types of glue to, it's ridiculous out there. So these things affect body image. Women that don't like to look at themselves in the mirror. Like I said before, I know of grown women that don't like to look at themselves naked. Why is that? What's psychologically, what's going on behind that? That's what you'd have to ask yourself. Why would I not like myself? And what am I comparing myself to not like it? Like, what am I considering to be better than me? And why would I consider that person? Because most of the time, these images out here that we use to like compare ourselves are not real. They're not real. They're photoshopped. These people are, they're getting stuff done themselves. They're getting all types of shots and surgeries. On top of the fact that the women that we may admire and envy and try to like literally duplicate may have their own insecurities. Did you ever think about that? There's no one perfect out here. All those Instagram models, they have their own set of issues. There's no perfect life because we're all human and we all have to deal with certain things. We all have different relationships and we deal with different people and we have different experiences. So nobody's life is perfect. And you kind of have to keep that in mind. And just because you have a fatter ass or bigger breasts or whatever you have it, if you have those things, how does this make you a better person? Does it make you more attractive? How do you feel? How do you feel? Do you feel better about yourself? And why? Did it have to take that for you to feel good about yourself? Does it end there if you were to enhance your body in that way? Does it keep going? Or do you get to the real root of the problem and save your money? So women that like to, and we're talking about body image tonight, women that like to cover themselves during sex. Now, I've heard of that, right? So I've heard of women like, they're like riding the dick and then they kind of take the blanket or the sheet and kind of cover their stomach or their stretch marks or different things like that. And as I said in the show before, he has already seen it. She has already seen it. Ain't no need of you doing all that. When you took your clothes off, they got an eye full. So trying to cover yourself up and keep it sexy. What's really sexy is you being confident in who you are and truly enjoying your sexual experience. You know what I'm saying? Those who have to have the lights off, that sort of thing. There are some women that really don't like to see their body. They don't want to see your body either. And they will insist the lights be off when they have sex. Plenty of people out there like that. You got some that just don't give a damn. They'll have sex with lights on and during the daytime. And they want to see it all. You just got some people who are just visual like that. But you have some on the opposite of the spectrum that you know what I'm saying, they have a hard time accepting who they are. Physically, they have a hard time accepting their loving their body. So I want to ask you, like, what would you want to change? Right? But that would be too easy. So let's start with a more body positive approach. When you look in the mirror, what do you enjoy seeing? What do you love about your body and why? You know what I'm saying? What do you want to change? And why would you want to change it? That's my thing. Ask yourself these questions. Body image is a big deal because this is why the gyms are full. This is why surgeons are making the money that they make. This is why clothing lines and even music affects our body image. When men glorify and indulge and rap about and sing about various parts of the woman's body, how is that affecting women psychologically? Nobody really cares about that. Everybody is too busy trying to meet the status quo, which is very unfortunate because if that is the case, you are living your life for other people. You are living your life for the media. You're living your life for social acceptance. And if you are trying to live for society, I don't see how you could genuinely be happy at all. How can you experience really any like true self-contentment, self-happiness if you continue to live in a way where you are constantly seeking validation from other people, from other places, from other spaces? You know what I'm saying? How can you truly live and enjoy who you are if you are consistently looking for or continuously looking for acceptance from the public, because they don't give a damn about you. You will never be perfect. You know what I'm saying? You can have a fat ass and they can still find something about you that they're not going to like. That's my thing. You know what I'm saying? So you have to like, do you. Do you. And don't be so preoccupied with wanting to satisfy others. You know what I'm saying? That's my thing. So I actually found a link. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. I found a link, and this link is from the National Eating Disorders.org. It's 10 steps to a positive body image. Let me see if I can pull it up. All right. So let's see here. Okay, here we go. It's taking a little time to open up. All right, 10 steps to positive body image. And I hope you're listening very careful, ladies, because this is actually some good information. This is from the National Eating Disorders.org. And of course, eating disorders has a lot to do with body image and understanding how you feel about self. So I thought this was a great website to pull this type of information from. And you can look it up yourself. And even if you need to print it out and post it somewhere in your closet or on your mirror so you can remind yourself of how valuable you are, and that you have to pretty much, you have to validate your own worth. Okay? So number 1, it says, appreciate all that your body can do. Every day, your body carries you closer to your dreams. Celebrate all of the amazing things your body does for you. Running, dancing, breathing, laughing, dreaming, etc. So in other words, they're saying embrace all of the abilities of your body, not just how it looks, but the things it can do, the many functions that it has, and how it has carried you this far, which makes a lot of sense. And it helps to give you a whole new appreciation for your body other than just looking at it. You know what I'm saying? Number 2, keep a top 10 list of things you like about yourself. Things that aren't related to how much you weigh or what you look like. Read your list often. Add to it as you become aware of more things to like about yourself. That's a beautiful suggestion, to concentrate on the things you like about yourself. We tend to focus on the negative. We are quick to find out what's wrong with ourselves or what's wrong with other people. Maybe, and I think one way to focus more so on the positive is, when it comes to focusing more on the positive of ourselves, is focusing on more of the positive of other people. If you go throughout life looking at the positive in people, it may become easier for you to really understand and find the positives about yourself. Okay? Number 3, remind yourself that true beauty is not simply skin deep. When you feel good about yourself and who you are, you carry yourself with a sense of confidence, self-acceptance, and openness that makes you beautiful regardless of whether you physically look like a supermodel. Beauty is a state of mind, not a state of your body. Yes, I totally agree. I totally agree. Feeling good about yourself and who you are and what you have accomplished and the things you can do and the abilities that you have and the skills and the knowledge and all that, okay, helps you to feel good about yourself. And it takes the focus off of what you look like and really puts more of the focus on who you are as a whole being. Okay. Number 4, look at yourself as a whole person, what I just said. When you see yourself in a mirror or in your mind, choose not to focus on specific body parts. See yourself as what you want others to see you as, a whole person. Yes, exactly. When you feel a certain way about yourself, that energy actually shows. It shows to other people, and they will treat you accordingly. If they see that you don't feel, people quickly recognize if you have low self-esteem. People quickly recognize if you don't like the way you look, if you are constantly critiquing yourself. if you are constantly having this inner battle of what you feel is not attractive about yourself, people pick up on that. And people really, they love to be around confident, sure people. Have you noticed that? Right? Because like when you were in school and when you were high school or college, right, the popular people seem to always be, they seem to be the most confident, and people, they're drawn to that. Okay. Number 5, surround yourself with positive people. It is easier to feel good about yourself and your body when you are around others who are supportive and who recognize the importance of liking yourself just as you naturally are. Yes, I totally agree. So if you are battling low self-esteem, one of the things you can do is, as they suggested here, you can create an inner circle, a support system that loves the genuine person that you are. Okay? And we all have that best friend, that girlfriend, that boyfriend. Many of us do. Let me put it that way. Not all of us. But many of us have that, where we have that person that loves who we are. You know, this just the genuine person, not necessarily what they see on the outside. And that can include your parents. That can include your children. That can include your siblings. But making sure that you are around positive-minded people who look at you in the positive way. They make it a positive space. They make it a safe, non-threatening space. Okay, so you can be yourself. And the more you feel comfortable with being yourself around those people, the more you tend to treasure that positive experience, and it can carry from that space into new spaces, into new friendships, into new ideas. And you tend to focus more so on the positive than the negative, because that's what you're around. That's all that's around you is the positive. Okay. Number 6, shut down those voices in your head that tell you your body is not right or that you are a bad person. You can overpower those negative thoughts with positive ones. The next time you start to tear yourself down, build yourself back up with a few quick affirmations that work for you. So yes, in other words, once you surround yourself with the positive people, okay, now it's saying use that outside to affect what's going on inside, because we do that enough with the negative. So why can't we do that with the positive? You know what I'm saying? We easily take the negative, all the things that we want to correct and all the things people are quick to point out that's wrong with you. And we let that seep in and affect our thinking about, you know, how we think and feel about ourselves. So now let's take it and put it on the more positive end of the spectrum. So in other words, you got your positive people around you. You have positive support systems, right? And then from there, you can use those positive sayings and kind of like you can reaffirm that positive mindset of yours. Okay, so it's telling you, or the suggestion is, tell yourself positive things. Don't tell yourself, I wish I could, I wish I didn't look like this. No, tell yourself positive things about the things that you are doing, things that you've accomplished, things that is working about your body. You know what I'm saying? Things that are healthy about your body. Okay? So it's saying, shut down those voices in your head that tell your body is not right. Because that's really just a voice. That voice could be saying the exact opposite. Instead of it saying you're a bad person, that same voice can be saying you're a good person. That same voice can be saying your body is right. You can overpower those negative thoughts with positive ones, is what it's saying. Number 7, wear clothes that are comfortable and that make you feel good about your body. Work with your body, not against it. So in other words, wear clothes that are complementary to your body shape. That's very simple. You know, and I know sometimes we tend to look at these clothing, these fashion ads, and we see that we like a particular thing and then we try it on and we get upset because that particular piece of clothing doesn't look right. It doesn't look the same on you as it did on the person that you loved it on. But you also have to keep in mind you're two different people. If you don't look like the models that was wearing that particular outfit, how do you expect it to look the same on you if you all are not built the same? It doesn't necessarily mean that because that model is wearing it that it's the right way. It doesn't mean that at all. It just means that they chose her to wear that outfit, just like you can choose to wear an outfit that compliments you. They chose an outfit that complimented her. Same thing. Okay? So it's saying wear clothes that are comfortable, clothes that if they have like they have stylists, and they even have TV shows that teach you how to wear the clothing that is the best fit for your body. So, you have, like, say, for instance, you have some women that are very insecure about their stomachs. They might have a little pudge. So you have stylists that actually show you the proper clothing to wear, where it can kind of camouflage your tummy if you don't like it, and you can still be sexy and attractive and all that good stuff. So learn how to wear the clothes right so it can accentuate the body parts that you do love. And you know what I'm saying? And whatever you don't like, you can work towards. I don't know what you can do about it, because I don't know if it's an issue of weight or if it's an issue of scarring. You know what I'm saying? Because you have people who have scars from accidents and different things like that. So there's a way to embrace that by adding to it, by adding positivity to it. In other words, so if you have a scar, there's a way to look at it versus the way to not look at it. So those positive thoughts that I was talking about, you can easily replace those negative thoughts with positive thoughts. So you have some who are insecure about the scar. Oh, speaking of that, you know these new models out here with the vitiligo, right? So they're embracing it. And it's almost like they feel so beautiful that when you look at it, you can't help but to be like, wow, that is beautiful. See what I'm saying? It's just a matter of changing your perspective. And you can do that. You can just do that. You don't have to be negative. Okay? You don't have to be that way. You can choose to think another way. You can choose to see that scar as something that represents survival, or something that represents a time in your life that no longer exists, and you understand that this is the past and now you have moved on, or it's something that an incident that you can learn from, or you can teach others about scars and how to minimize the color. I mean, there's so many ways you can play with that to make it a more positive experience than to automatically make it a negative experience. And I was saying scarring because that's what I was thinking of. I know many women who have the stretch marks from pregnancy and different things like that. So, that plays on people's self-esteem quite a bit. I understand that. And like I was saying, there are ways to combat that. There are ways to lift yourself up instead of dragging yourself down about that. Okay. Number 8, become a critical viewer of social and media messages. Pay attention to images, slogans, or attitudes that make you feel bad about yourself or your body. Protest these messages. Write a letter to the advertiser or talk back to the image or message. In other words, it's saying, be critical. Just like I was saying, the models, a lot of them are, tend to be very slim and different things like that. And what it's saying is pay attention to the fact that this ad or those ads do not always represent you and the population that looks like you. Okay? Which means you can develop your own standard. It does not have to be the standard that is out there. It does not have to be the socially approved standard. You can develop your own. Okay? And it even goes as far as saying, speak out against it. Because these fashion industries will only pay attention to what the client wants. If you want that, how do you think Ashley, what is that line? There's a clothing line that's specifically for plus women. How did they know to do that other than for hearing from women that decided to speak up about it? Okay. And we've heard it many times before, people protesting about ads that don't represent the public. It doesn't represent the average size woman, different things like that. So you can be an active voice, and that can give you confidence alone, just speaking out and speaking up for yourself and saying, hey, that's not me. This is me over here. And I'm beautiful too. And I should be represented too. You know what I'm saying? Number 9, do something nice for yourself. Something that lets your body know you appreciate it. Take a bubble bath. Make time for a nap. Find a peaceful place outside to relax. Yes, very much so. Do something for your body to say, I appreciate you. Massages and getting facials and, just different things like that. Working out is another way too, to appreciate your body. Number 10, lastly, Use the time and energy that you might have spent worrying about food, calories, and your weight to do something to help others. Sometimes reaching out to other people can help you feel better about yourself and can make a positive change in our world. And I totally agree with that. Okay? All that negative energy, it doesn't do anything for you. It only makes you just mentally and emotionally sick. It doesn't do anything. All that complaining that people do, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to the body, it literally just makes you sick inside. And so it doesn't help you. Being productive and being aware of yourself and attempting to change yourself for the better, that's what makes you better. That's what makes you help. That's what helps you progress in life. You know what I'm saying? That's what we should be striving for, progression. Being negative and looking at yourself a certain way, it doesn't help you. And if you're in a relationship, it doesn't help your partner. How can they see that you are, they looking at you a totally different way than you looking at yourself? I know women that are in marriage, that are in relationships, that see themselves in such a negative way, but the husband think they're sexy. But they're constantly critiquing themselves. They're constantly saying, I wish I was this. I wish I was that. I wish my hair was this way. And I'm like, but your husband loves you for who you are. If he didn't want you, trust me, honey, he would not be with you. He wouldn't marry you. Oh, well, let me take that back. Because we do have some men out here who will marry women that they really shouldn't want. They're really not even attracted to. But that's a whole nother show. But what I'm saying is... learn to appreciate yourself and not seek validation from others, from the outside world. Because the outside world is screwed the fuck up. Okay? And they got their own insecurities. So I'll be damned if I let someone else determine how good I look when they got their own issues. Fuck that. That's all I'm saying. Okay? So anyway, I'm going to take a little break. Okay? And I'm going to come back and I'll be talking about the stigma of touching yourself. And then we're going to transition right into masturbation. I got a few toys that I want to show you that you can use when you masturbate, because it ain't all about the fingers, ladies. Okay? So we're going to talk about the stigma of touching yourself. Okay? Because there is a huge stigma behind that. I don't know why. Well, actually, I do. And we'll talk about that. So I will be back. Make sure you join me. All right? I'm talking about nothing but a smile.